thanks be to the Lord, you're home, ma'am.
It's all right, Mary. The storm hasn't broken
It
yet.
isn't the storm, ma'am. It's the master.
My husband? What's wrong?
He's after having the most dreadful argument.
With whom?
Lord Warminster, ma'am. They're in the sitting room.
Thank you, Mary. That'll be all.
Buried yesterday. It's extraordinary, isn't it? Don't you think so?
By all means.
They haven't even found him yet.
If they haven't found him yet, how do they bury him?
Not him, the other one.
Did we finish the marmalade?
Is it empty? The raspberry jam's very good. Really, Holmes, Lord Warminster, a peer of the realm, has murdered his lawyer, Albert Neal, and disappeared. I should have thought even you'd be upset.
I am. I was looking forward to the marmalade.
That's probably Lord Warminster himself. I believe that he didn't murder anybody and he wants you to prove it.
My name is Lady Warminster. I would like to speak to Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Lady Warminster, please come in.
Thank you.
This is Sherlock Holmes, Lady Warminster.
Holmes?
Lady Warminster. May I present my colleague, Dr. Watson?
How do you do? Please sit down.
Thank you. Have you read the morning newspaper, Mr. Holmes?
It's been read to me.
You're familiar with the case, Mr. Holmes?
Only superficially. Do you have any idea what motive your husband might have had to murder Mr. Neal?
I don't, Mr. Holmes.
And your husband disappeared that night?
Yes.
He's made no attempt to contact you?
None.
And the police view your husband's absence as proof of his guilt?
My husband could never commit a crime, Mr. Holmes.
I believe you're saying your husband could never commit an ordinary crime, such as theft.
And you're suggesting that even an honest man, if he's sufficiently provoked, could commit murder? I was going to ask you to prove my husband's innocence, Mr. Holmes. Instead, I ask you to reveal the facts and truth about what happened that night.
Regardless of who may be implicated by those facts?
You believe in facts, Mr. Holmes. I believe in my husband. I have no fear of the truth. Will you take the case, Mr. Holmes?
Yes, Lady Warminster, I'll take the case.
So, Mr. Holmes, you've been asked to take an interest in this case.
Yes, Lestrade.
Well, I'm not surprised. Lord Warminster's going to need all the help he can get.
You've made up your mind that he's guilty.
Oh, he's guilty, all right. There's no doubt about that.
Holmes, did you see these blood stains?
I noticed them.
They cover quite a wide area. That would indicate a violent fight.
Well, the same effect would result if the body were moved around on the floor.
Why should anyone do that?
I have no idea.
Lestrade, what was the cause of death?
A heavy blow to the temple.
Which temple?
The right. No, the left. Wait a minute. The right.
You're certain?
I'm certain Mr. Neal is dead, Dr. Watson.
And the murder weapon, Lestrade?
Some sort of heavy club.
Like a candlestick.
Candlestick, walking stick, paperweight. He's dead.
Mrs. Mulligan, what time did Lord Warminster arrive here last night?
Just after 8.
And how did Lord Warminster appear?
Angry. Very angry. Hopping mad, I'd say.
I see. And how long is it since you lost your husband?
Well,
I said, how long is it since you lost your husband?
It was 8 years, sir. But how did you know I was a widow?
I didn't. But I was fairly certain that Inspector Lestrade had not lost his husband. So after Lord Warminster came in, there was an argument.
Oh, very loud, sir.
Lord Warminster didn't leave.
he went out through that window, Holmes.
I see. How did you establish that, Lestrade?
Murderers always go out windows. Standard procedure.
Who discovered the body, Mrs. Mulligan?
Mrs. Neal, sir, when she came home.
And she sent for the police at once?
Yes.
No. Mrs. Neal went into the living room, and I returned to the kitchen downstairs. Just when I got to the foot of the stairs, I heard Mrs. Neal scream. She was...
In a state of shock.
Yes, sir. And so I sent for the police, sir.
Were there any bruises on the face, Mrs. Mulligan, as though he...
Oh, it was all covered in blood. I couldn't look at the face.
Women are always like that. Can't stand the sight of blood.
Really?
Yes. Well, now you have all the facts.
What was the motive, Lestrade?
We'll ask Lord Warminster that when we find him. In the meanwhile, the facts that we have...
Our supposition and speculation. Or to put it succinctly, we have a wealth of evidence, no motive, and no facts at all.
Ah, Mrs. Neal. This is Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes.
Lady Warminster has asked Mr. Holmes to try and find her husband.
I'm not a vindictive person, but he came here and murdered my husband. And why?
Can you think of any motive for...
There was no motive. No, of course. That makes no sense either. There must have been a motive. Some reason.
I'm sorry to question you at this time, Mrs. Neal.
I understand.
If you should think of anything that might provide a motive, I'd appreciate your contacting me or Inspector Lestrade.
Of course.
Thank you, Mrs. Neal. I assume you have men watching Lord Warminster's house.
His home, his club, his office, everywhere he might turn up.
And this house?
Oh, come now, Holmes. You don't still believe the murderer returns to the scene of the crime. Well, have a good day, gentlemen.
You're concerned about a motive, or lack of it. Well, I've been thinking.
Yes.
I don't even like making this suggestion, but it might explain...
Yes?
Well, if there'd been a relationship between Lord Warminster and Mrs. Neal... I mean, I'm only suggesting.
I understand.
Well, if there had been something between Lord Warminster and Mrs. Neal, and Mr. Neal had found out, that would provide a motive. Don't you agree?
And then?
Well, then there would have been a confrontation between the two men, and Lord Warminster would have killed him. It's simple and obvious.
Well, congratulations, Watson. You've solved another case. Unfortunately, not this one.